made this truss rod cover for the guitar. Obviously, I didn't want to hold up the quote-unquote final video because of this little tiny piece. However, apparently that was a mistake because so many people called attention to it. But I just kind of felt like that would probably be understood, and that's why I went ahead with the final video, because everybody was wanting to see it, you know. And I didn't want to hold up the video for this piece. But as you can see, it's finished. I am sanding it out here. It's got nitrocellulose lacquer, brushing lacquer on it. And I'm just trying to make sure that it's going to look good here. I don't want to sand through the finish. I think we're getting close. There's a little bit of unevenness there. I don't want this to be the one part that doesn't reflect well on the instrument, so I want to make sure it's smooth at least. I've put about 3 or 4 coats of brushing lacquer on this, so it should be enough on there to keep from sanding through, I would think. I believe that piece was 600. This is 2,000. I'm just going straight to 2,000. I think that's going to be fine in this case. And now I'm just going to take my paper towel trick and try that on this piece and see if it works on this piece as well. I bought a brand new tool that this guitar is the first guitar I'm using it on. It's actually a wedge gauge. It's measured in thousandths, believe it or not. And you know, really the accuracy by eye is about hundredths, really, but hundredths is very good. So you know, here's 10 thousandths, 20 thousandths, 30 thousandths, 40 thousandths, up to 150 thousandths. So, you know, we're working in the range of, you know, 80 to 90 thousandths most of the time at the 12th fret. So if I slide this in here, and I'm careful, and it's a little fidgety. I'm not going to tell you it's the easiest gauge to use, but it's not bad, and it's a quick way to look at it and say, is this right or not? And you can tell that right about there, between 90 and 100, it's starting to rub that string. So it's about 95 on the bass string there. Actually, it might only be 90, yeah. It depends on how you get it in there. Like, you got to be careful, because on these arch fretboards, you know, it'll tend to want to pull up. So you got to kind of keep it flat out here at the end, underneath the string. And really, when I do that, it's about, well, it actually maybe even starts touching it. Yeah, about 90. Right around 90. So it's real close to 90. And that's what I measured it at before, too. And then this side here measures about maybe even lower, like about 80. And you can tell too, because you can't press the string down, so you can kind of use that as a gauge too. You just touch the string. So let's try to zoom you in here to show you what we're looking at, if it'll let you see it. But anyway, that's what it's doing. It's a pretty handy gauge. Now, I will tell you, this thing's expensive. I think it was almost $60 for this gauge. So, you know, you've got to be somebody who uses it a lot to make it worth it. But it actually is a pretty good way. It even works up here at the 1st fret. You know, you can like put it in here, and when on a high one, and you can say, well, that's 20, 25 thousandths. And then like on this one here, it's about Oh, it's about 15 thousandths, right around that on this string. This string here is even closer, I'm sure. This string here is probably about, looks like about 12 thousandths, something like that. So I've got the action pretty low here, pretty darn low here too, 80 and 90 thousandths. And I'm just being honest with you. Leon mentioned to me that he thought the action felt a little high to him. Now, he's used to playing them electric guitars a lot, and of course the action can be set quite a bit lower typically on an electric guitar. But I did, after he told me that, I did tighten the truss rod a little bit because I thought there might be just a hair more underbow in the neck than it needed. And I can still see that, and I'll probably do the test here as such. Boy, it doesn't look like there's much clearance there. I don't think there's any more than about 10 thousandths clearance. So, yeah, if that. It's pretty flat. So, yeah, I can tell just by looking. I know what 10 thousandths is, and I would tell you right now that's about 10 thousandths, if anything. It's certainly no higher than that. So I think we're fine on that. Might even be flatter than 10 thousandths. So the action's really good as far as I can tell. I think it's very, very good. Just another thing to just be perfectly honest about the neck, that I will just tell you that, I shaped the neck entirely before putting the fretboard on it. Then I just rounded the last little bit off to the fretboard. Now that left the neck feeling just a little bit on the blocky side, if you will. In other words, like if you it goes straight down before it curves. But it's not a big neck, it's a small neck. Well, my friends, due to all the interruptions yesterday, another day has passed. I cannot believe some days I'll come down here and maybe get 5 minutes in, and then everything blows up and then I don't get to do anything else. And that happens every once in a while. Fortunately, not every day. And of course, if you're wondering what blew up, well, my son came in and early in the morning. I got here extra early so I could get something done. And of course, he saw me in here and he came in and did some talking, and that was okay. And then he left, and about 15 minutes later he comes back. I thought for some more talking, or at least I was hoping, compared to what we really had to do, and that was dig the bobcat out of a deep gully that he got it into. Oh my gosh, it took 2 tractors hooked onto the bobcat to get it out, and trust me, there was no getting it out without tractors. If it had tracks on it, I could have got it out, but the tracks had wore out, and we took the tracks off of it. And so it was just rubber tires down in a deep gully and just slick sides and lots of mud. It wasn't coming out of there. And it didn't have the bucket on it, so I couldn't push. It only had forks on it. So the forks you can push somewhat, but in deep mud like that, as soft as that mud was, it wasn't coming out of there. Trust me. I'm pretty good with bobcats. A lot of people noted in the last video that it didn't have a label in it. I don't know if I'm not good with my new camera yet for focusing and all that. But anyway, it does have a label now. I think I took a little clip of me signing the label and everything, and hopefully that'll turn out. But as disjointed as everything is, I don't know what's on film and what's not right now. So I'm starting over again, if you will. I would like to put this in the label. Most guitar labels, or at least a lot of guitar labels, are put so that if you hold the guitar standing up like this, that you can read the label. In other words, the neck pointed up. But in this guitar, those 2 braces that go across there are narrower than this label. So if I did that, it would be up on those 2 white braces, and I don't want that. So then my debate is, okay, do I put it where, generally speaking, I like to turn it like this and be able to read the label. Well, but then it's upside down while you're playing it, and everybody else is looking at it with the label upside down, which I don't like that either. And it's upside down to the Rosa in this particular case. A lot of pick guards are just, you know, black, so therefore it wouldn't really make too much difference. But in this case, there is an up and a down there, and so because of all of that, I know this shouldn't be a debate how to put a label in something, but it is for me. So because of all that, I'm going to put the label in so that when I read it this way, it will be correct. And while you're playing it, it'll be correct. So that's what I'm about to do. Here we go. I use liquid hide glue is what I've been using for this. And the paintbrush smooths out any wrinkles or bubbles. And now I'm going to try to clean up that little bit of extra glue right there. And I may have to do that with a tiny brush, a dampen brush. But we'll get that cleaned up too. Well, there's what she looks like with the new label inside there. Try to get it up fairly close where you can see the label. Hopefully the camera will focus. But I think that's going to be my biggest problem with this camera. That old camera focused autofocus so quick and so fast. This one doesn't appear to be doing that. That looks like it's fuzzy to me, and I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, whatever. Oh well, that's going to be kind of a negative on the new camera, I think. So now I'm going to take a minute and just detail the guitar one more time, because there are little smudgy things. There's no scratches or anything, but there's like around the bridge there's a little bit of glue smudge and stuff that I can wipe off with water and things. And then I'm going to wax it, and we're just going to get her boxed up and ship her to California. I know Bob out in California is anxious to get it. It's very hard to paste wax a instrument, much harder than the liquid polishes, but the paste wax actually crisps up the finish and even makes the instrument sound better. I know some people would argue with that and say, how could it do it? It does. It makes the finish harder, and that makes the instrument sound better. So I'm going to do all that. I'm not going to film it. That's just one little part of it that I did there. We'll have to do the whole instrument that way. Well, friends, here it is. This is the last look at it. It is completely finished. There's a look at the label one last time in there. Hopefully it's focused this time. And a look at the rows. And there's the little pins that he used. Here's the inlay that I put in there. Here's the back of the neck to see what it looks like. And that little heel plate. And of course that, if you want to see that curly binding that I put on it. And of course the armrest, what it turned out like. It turned out really good. Couldn't even be more pleased with the way that looks. Somebody asked about how it felt. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't notice it, and I guess that's because it's doing its job, you know. It's not sharp. And there's the little truss rod cover that so many people ask about. So I guess it's now complete. So this gives it closure, you know. I will be perfectly honest with you, I had one of these tuning keys just a little bit skewed in the last video, and I fixed that so it's perfectly straight. And the fretboard looks real good. The action is just incredibly good to me. It's perfect. I know a lot of real fine pickers want them even lower, but I just hesitate setting them any lower than what I have it here. I have it about 90 and 80, and I have it at kind of anywhere from about 12 up to about 18 on the first fret here. And let's just play a little bit on it to hear the final sound. Now I've adjusted the mic way down on the gain. I don't know how it's coming through because I can't tell till I edit the video. So we're getting what we're getting. I put the mic up much closer to my mouth as you guys had suggested, which will put it a little further away from the guitar. But anyway, there's C, F, G. I'm going to do a little bit of a song that I wrote a long time ago when I was 18 years old. From where I stand I can see all the lights of the city. For one man to love one woman so much it's a pity. From where I stand I can see the cantina she goes to, where she's not supposed to, but goes anyway. Stand, I can hear the music and laughter. Carmela tells me that's what her young heart is after. I see it differently, I see her there with a man. Carmela is lying asleep from where I stand. Camilla is lying, I see it from where I stand. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the whole guitar series. Thank you all for being so nice to me and all those nice compliments on the last video. But I felt like this thing kind of deserved one more little follow-up video there. And there's one final look at that beautiful Paduk back. And one final look at the front. Thank you for watching.